Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Welcome to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo, and if you caught the last episode of Life and Happiness, I talked all about making the most out of the last few weeks of 2019. And I did touch a little bit on the winter blues and how that affects our last few weeks of 2019 and just this time of year, of course. And so now I want to talk about overcoming that. So it is that time of the year with the holidays coming. It can be a very joyful time, of course. Lots of people are excited to celebrate, give back, see family, maybe have a break off of work or school, whatever the case may be. But we also need to remember what this time of year brings for a lot of people. It's winter and the seasonal blues are upon us. Some people would say that it's seasonal depression. But it's actually called Seasonal Affective Disorder, SAD, SAD. How ironic, right? So Seasonal Affective Disorder is actually a form of depression that particularly occurs in the winter months. I feel like, if you haven't personally been affected by, the seasonal blues, I'm sure someone around you or close to you has. It's that time of the year where, it's cold outside. The holidays are coming. Sometimes that makes people feel a little bit lonely, a little bit out of place. It makes you think of the new year, what you have accomplished, what you haven't accomplished, where you want to go, where you've been. It's a lot of time of thinking and reflecting on your life and where things have been and how you're feeling. And seasonal affective disorder is prominent in a lot of people. It is very common, and it affects your moods, your sleeping schedule, your appetite, your energy levels, and it can affect all aspects of your life, like relationships, professional, personal, your sense of self-worth. All of that can be affected literally strictly because of the time of year you can feel these type of ways. You could feel the complete opposite than how you really do in the summer months. Like a completely new person. Maybe you're more sad, tense, you're extra stressed, you're feeling hopeless, you have no interest in activities, especially the seasonal activities, because there is lots of winter sports or winter activities or especially holiday activities, holiday festivities, and sometimes you just do not feel like participating in them, like adventuring outside of your home. And it's true, it really does affect a lot of people. So the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder are like your depressed mood, low self-esteem, that's a form of depression, feeling so sad, a loss of interest or pleasure in activities, appetite and weight changes, feeling angry, irritable, stressed, or anxious, unexplainable aches and pains. It could be like body aches or pains, or maybe a lot of headaches, or, some tension in your shoulders and your body. You can have difficulty concentrating. Changes in your sleep pattern is a huge one. And then, of course, resulting in fatigue and lack of energy. You can also have a reduced sex drive, which means that you might be suffering from seasonal affective disorder. And then just like your feelings of sadness, hopelessness, and despair, right? These are all kind of things that connect around depression. But seasonal affective disorder is basically a type of depression. So in winter, we want to stay inside because it's cold out. Maybe depending on where you live, it might be snowing or raining. You don't want to drive in those conditions if your roads are messy or they're icy. You just want to stay cozied up in bed. You want to stay warm, drinking hot chocolate, maybe watching some movies. You want to stay alone. We isolate ourselves in these months, and we blame it a lot on the weather for most places where we are. But let's dig a little bit deeper into seasonal affective disorder and exactly what it is, how it comes about, why it affects so many people around this time. So it's most common in the winter months, obviously, because the days become shorter and we simply just get less sunlight, which is absolutely crucial to our moods. It is crucial to how we're feeling, how it affects our energy, our drive, our ambition, all of that, just our moods in general. Okay, so the shorter days, so your reduced exposure to sunlight, affect the body particularly in 3 different ways. It can affect your body obviously in more than just these 3 ways, but I find that these are the 3 things that the, reduced exposure to sunlight, the shorter days, the timing of this season really affects. So the first one is your body's internal clock or your sleep-wake cycle. During this time of year, so our body automatically changes between light and dark to regulate your sleep, your mood, and your appetite. So the longer nights and the shorter days of winter can completely disrupt your internal clock. So this is going to make you feel groggy, disoriented, and sleepy at inconvenient times because we're not getting enough sunlight. Our body automatically, when we see sunlight, when we open up our eyes and it's sunny outside, that is us telling our body that it's daytime. It's awake time. We need to get up, get awake, get moving, right? So when it's dark, it automatically makes us feel more tired. We're laying in bed and it's dark. That's why, people buy those super shades where you can't let any light in so you can sleep in past the crack of dawn because the sun really does internally wake you up. So this time of year, since there is reduced sunlight, you're sleeping longer, you're feeling groggier, you're feeling more tired. And when you're feeling tired and groggy, you tend to get more sad as well, when it's dark. Those are depressing kind of times, right? It brings you down. So this really, really affects our internal clock, and it completely affects our moods, our sleep. Sleep is like the huge thing. If you don't have enough sleep, you didn't get enough rest, you're not going to feel like yourself. You're not going to feel good. You're going to be tired. You're going to maybe overthink, your thought process, your patterns of your mind. It's not going to be what it's usually like, right? So this is a huge, huge factor of seasonal affective disorder. Another one is the production of melatonin. So it's kind of relating back to sunlight and darkness. So when it's dark, our brain automatically produces the hormone melatonin, which helps you sleep at night. And then sunlight during the day triggers the brain to stop melatonin production so that you feel awake and alert. I know some of you might take melatonin at night because you want to fall asleep. That's very common to do. If you have trouble falling asleep, you can take some melatonin or have a tea, like a sleepy time tea that has melatonin in it that will help you fall asleep. Well, when it's dark, your brain is automatically producing melatonin. That's the hormone that it's producing. So when it's dark outside, when you're not getting much sunlight in the winter months, you're producing more melatonin, right? And then the sunlight triggers the brain to stop that. So once again, you're not seeing sunlight, so you're not waking up. Hence, you're feeling groggy, you're feeling low. During the shorter days and the long nights of winter, your body may produce too much melatonin, right? Because it's always dark. And so it's leaving you feeling drowsy and low on energy, groggy, like I said. It just brings everything down. And then it's also affecting the production of serotonin. So the reduced sunlight of winter can lower your body's production of serotonin, which is the neurotransmitter that helps to regulate your mood. I'm sure you've all heard of serotonin to do with, your happiness, your happy hormones and everything, right? So the deficit may lead to depression. And that obviously affects your sleep, your appetite, your mind process, so your memory, if you're thinking of things properly, if maybe you're at work or at school and you just can't think properly. Your thoughts are jumbled in your head. And so it's because your body is reduced on serotonin, making you feel lower. You're feeling more depressed, more down. And so it's really affecting these things. So these months, we really need to force ourselves to get outside, to get in the sunlight, to get moving, right? So the 3 things that really affect seasonal affective disorder. So your body's internal clock, the production of melatonin, and the production of serotonin. So these are like kind of the 3 main points that really do affect it. But of course, there's other factors as well. But sunlight and where you are, in winter, it's usually dark. Maybe it's cloudy. I don't know, depending on where you live. Maybe it's nice and sunny where some people live. And it's true. People that do get more sunlight in the winter months don't suffer as often or as likely for seasonal affective disorder as those that are living in, the places that it's always snowing, it's always raining during the winter months, it's always clouded over. That's when you're going to get more and more affected, right? So it definitely does depend on where you're living. It can affect more people than others, right? But even just the season of the holidays and the winter months can just be a little bit draining no matter where you are, whether you're getting sunlight or you're not getting sunlight. You can be affected by seasonal affective disorder no matter where, no matter what you're doing or what kind of person you are. It's just that time of the year. So just to summarize the 3 things that are really affecting seasonal affective disorder. So it's your body's internal clock, your production of melatonin, and your production of serotonin. Of course, there's other factors with seasonal affective disorder, but those are kind of the 3 main points. So it's time for a little bit of a break, but when we get back, I'm going to talk to you about overcoming your seasonal affective disorder, things that you can help. It's definitely, you can't just flip a switch and you feel a lot brighter in these winter months. It doesn't work like that. But there is some tips and tricks and things that you can do at home and things you can do for yourself that will help you feel better in this time. So stay tuned to learn how to help overcome it for yourself.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
And we are back to the GSMC Life and Happiness podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. So, like I said before the break, I gave you 3 main points of what are really affecting seasonal affective disorder. And now we're going to talk about overcoming it and what you can do to help yourself get through these tough months. But if you're here to find an easy answer, well, then you're not ready to fight, because there is no easy answer. So if you're here to find an easy answer, then you're not ready to tackle it head on. You're not ready to go full force and put yourself in a happier, healthier state of mind. Because of course, you can't flip a switch and just change your mood. As much as we would all want to be able to do that. There's no answer for overcoming this. There's no answer to overcome any type of depression, really. Everything's different for every single person. Seasonal affective disorder, there is more certain targets that you can hit to help you try to overcome it. Since it is seasonal, there are a little bit more things that you can target. But like I said, there is no right answer. There's no checklist to really kickstart your happiness. But the things I am going to talk to you about will help you get through. They're going to help you feel stronger and push past these things. So, number 1 thing I want to talk about is just getting into the light. Now, this seems typical because I just talked about how seasonal affective disorder is really affected by the sunlight and your reduced exposure to sunlight. You know, we're always in the dark. And so getting into the light is obviously going to help. But we aren't all able to walk outside and get sunlight, of course. So there is other things that you can do. Light therapy or phototherapy, some people call it, has been shown to decrease melatonin levels in a matter of fact of just days. It can help really, really quickly. But it's not just any light that will do. You can't just stand under your kitchen light bulb and feel better. Doesn't quite work like that. But there are light boxes that are specifically made to mimic natural light, and it can help ease or prevent the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. You can get these light boxes just off the internet. You can find them. I actually think you can even find them on Amazon. But you really can. They do help. They aren't that expensive, most of them. You can find ones that are affordable. So light therapy boxes give off light that mimics sunshine. So this can help you in the recovery from seasonal affective disorder, basically, right? So we need more light. We need to produce more serotonin and less melatonin, right? We need more light in our body. We need those different hormones. So by having these light boxes, you can literally sit in front of this light box for about 30 minutes a day, I guess as much as you can. But this will help stimulate your body's internal clock and suppress its natural releases of melatonin. So most people find light therapy to be the most effective if they use it when they get up first in the morning. First thing you wake up, you get out of bed, and you can sit in front of your light box for 30 minutes or even just, as long as you can, I guess, right? Even 15 minutes is better than nothing if you only have time for that much. But in the morning, if you can try to get yourself in that light, it is going to help set you up for a better day. It's going to get things in your body moving. It's going to help reset your internal clock, so you're trying to be on the right path. So wake up and start your day right by, I guess, sitting in front of a light box, which sounds so weird. Of course, if you can get outside and there is sunshine, of course, sunshine is the best way to go. But we can't always get sunshine. So if you are really, really feeling the effects of seasonal affective disorder, I highly recommend getting this light therapy box because it does help. Most people say that it is the most effective way to help seasonal affective disorder. So the next thing that you can do also is get dawn simulators. I did some research on these, but they can really help people with seasonal affective disorder. So these devices are like alarm clocks, but rather than you waking up abruptly with, that annoying iPhone, like, loud bring or alert sound, or beeping, whatever it is, they produce light that gradually increases in intensity. So just like the sun. So it's like waking up to a sunrise, but they're called dawn simulators. There's different models of dawn simulators, but the best ones use full spectrum light. Those are the most effective to help you with seasonal affective disorder. It's the closest to natural sunlight, basically. Researchers have found that dawn simulators were as effective as light therapy for people with mild seasonal affective disorder. So if you're just starting to feel some of the effects of seasonal affective disorder, this might be a thing that to grab. And like I said too, with the light therapy boxes, you can get this stuff online. You can find affordable ones. Of course, it depends on your degree of how you're feeling and how bad your seasonal affective disorder is. But there are things that you can get out and do. So the next one, I kind of touched base a little bit about it already, but just get outside. Head outside, go into the outdoors. I know going outdoors during the cold winter months isn't always easy, especially depending on where you live, but it is the most effective way to get your body the light exposure that it needs. Spending half an hour to 1 hour outdoors, even on a cloudy day, will make a difference. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. It's the intensity of the outdoor light that is significantly greater than any kind of indoor lighting. So even if it's cloudy, try to get outside, go for a walk. First of all, exercise is great when you are feeling down too. It gets you out of your head, you get moving. I'm going to touch on that in just quick here. Of course, like I said, light boxes and dawn simulators are great. But if you can get outside, get outside. Whether it's sunny or it's not. The fresh air, and even when it's cloudy, the outdoor light is going to make a difference on you. So, maybe wake up in the morning and go for a 30-minute walk or even a 15-minute walk. Because the light from outside is going to help, and you're going to get some exercise in, which is going to make you feel so much better. Take a walk or do something active. So the most effective, activity-wise to get you out of seasonal affective disorder or to help with the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder is any kind of aerobic exercise. So that's proven to lift your spirits, going for a run, going for a jog, skipping, maybe even just going to an aerobic class or really some kind of movement, even lifting weights, anything like that that's kind of getting you moving, maybe get a sweat on a little bit. It really does help. And I think, the most effective thing to do with this too is grab a buddy, grab a family member and go for a buddy run or go to an aerobics class with your friend because it's fun. You're spending time with your friends and it's going to make you feel so much better. If you can do this outside, then it's even, you're killing two birds with one stone, getting outside and getting some sunlight or exposure just to the daily outdoors, right? So try to aim for at least 30 to 60 minutes of activity on most days. I know that's easier said than done. We all try to aim for as much as activity as we can. But even just as simple as walking your dog. Our puppies could be being affected by seasonal affective disorder too. They need to get outside and get moving. You never know, right? So go outside, walk your dog if you have a dog, or just go outside by yourself, take a walk. It's going to help you clear your head. It's going to get you some exposure to some daylight. You're going to feel better. And you can interact with people as well. It's just all about that, right? It's all about getting yourself out of that unhealthy mindset and getting yourself into some fresh air, some sunlight, and some movement. Get you out of your mind, get you out of your body. And now the next thing I want to talk about is eating a well-balanced diet. Okay, so I know it's cliche and these things are, I'm sure you've been told them before, but seasonal affective disorder, it really hits a lot of people. And in the winter months, we want to stay inside and we want to eat chocolate and cookies and all those kind of things, hot chocolate, whatever it may be, right? We want those cozy foods, those comfort foods. But eating a small, well-balanced meals throughout the day, with plenty of fresh fruit, vegetables, it's going to keep your energy up and it's going to minimize your mood swings. Because we have a lot of mood swings and a lot of those are influenced by bad foods, by sugary foods, right? And all of those sugary foods are so common in the winter months, right? It's comfort food, it's cozy food, warm, fresh baked cookies or whatever it may be. And the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder actually make you crave those things more. Like I said, it's cold outside. We want these warm comfort snacks. When we're feeling down, we're feeling sad, we crave sugary foods and we crave simple carbohydrates, right? Such as pasta, white bread. But if you can, I am a huge carb lover. Don't get me wrong. But try to veer away from, the white pasta and the white bread and all those simple carbohydrates and get complex carbohydrates are a little bit better of a choice. As oatmeal or whole grain bread, brown rice, bananas. Those boost your feel-good serotonin levels. And then they don't give you that sugar crash later on. Another thing to do is eat foods rich in certain omega-3 fats. So oily fish, walnuts, soybeans, flax seeds. So this can actually also help you improve your mood and even boost the effectiveness of antidepressant medication if you are on antidepressant medication. Maybe you've heard of this, but those healthy omega-3 fats do have an effect on that, right? And so eating a well-balanced diet, it's going to make you feel better. You're going to avoid that big sugar crash. Your mood swings are going to be minimized. Your energy is going to be upped. It is a huge help all the way around. I know these are cliche. Get outside, get exercise, eat well-balanced diet. But during these winter months are when we need to be most focused on these things because it is so easy to veer off track. It is so easy to feel a different way, to eat more cookies and to stay inside because it's cold out, to make excuses, right? Oh, I don't feel like cooking. I'm tired, right? So we got to really make the point to get up, get out, eat well so that we're feeling so much better. It is time for another break, but when we get back, I'm going to talk about some more things that you can do to help you with your seasonal affective disorder and how to help others and just kind of summarize everything together. So don't go anywhere. I have lots more information.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. Like I said before the break, I got lots more information for you to help you with your seasonal affective disorder. And one of the huge points that I want to make is to mind your sleep routine. Like I said in one of the first halves, seasonal affective disorder is really influenced by our internal clocks because of the reduced exposure to sunlight, right? We are producing more serotonin, it's making us more tired, and we really need to try to stay on track with our sleep routine. It is huge. We really need to avoid the temptation to hibernate and sleep in. This can get your body completely off track even more than it already is. So if you struggle to wake up when it's still dark outside, try some dawn therapy. And like I said, you can do the dawn simulators. Those are super helpful for those of you who are just really struggling with getting up in the morning, especially when it's dark, because it's dark in the morning when we wake up, and it's hard to wake up when it's dark in the winter months. And so, like I said before, the dawn simulators are super helpful for that. It's along the same lines as the light therapy. You can do that as well, but you have to be able to get yourself out of bed to look in your light therapy box and do that. But you really need to help your body and your brain to being awake, right? And so a key thing to help with your sleep schedule is being consistent. You know, being consistent 7 days out of the week, not just during not just during Monday to Friday and then stay up all night Saturday or Friday and Saturday or whatever it is. We got to be consistent with it. We got to go to bed at the same time and wake up at the same time or relatively the same time. Especially in the winter months, it is so important. We got to force ourselves out of bed. And once you start doing this, even for like a couple weeks, your body is going to start resetting to that clock. It's going to get easier. For a couple weeks, it may be hard to wake up at, let's say, 7 a.m. every single day, 7 days a week. We all want to sleep in on the weekends, but try to get up. Try to get up, force yourself out of bed, and then also try to go to bed around the same time. I know that's easier said than done, depending on busy schedules, and of course, there's always events and things going off. I'm not saying you have to be 24/7, always on your clock, but try to stay consistent. It's going to make you feel so much better. So if you are suffering with seasonal affective disorder, consistency on your sleep schedule is absolutely huge. Huge, huge, huge. And now, I really just want to talk about being aware of yourself. Be aware of your thoughts in these months. Be aware of your seasonal affective disorder, what's around you. Really just sit down and think about it. Don't ignore your negative thoughts, but think about them. And then you can make an action plan, Just sit down, think to yourself, how are you feeling? How are the things around me in my life or the people in my life? How is everything affecting me? Maybe there's things that you can change. Maybe you're really recognizing that there's certain aspects in these winter months or any months that are really affecting your moods and putting you in a negative state of mind. So just sit down and think to yourself. Don't ignore your negative thoughts. Don't try to push your seasonal affective disorder to the side. We want to make the most out of every single day of our life. We want to live a happy and healthy life. So sometimes we do need to reflect on those negative things that we are dealing with internally. Because if we don't deal with them, they're just going to keep getting deeper and deeper pushed down, and it's going to get worse. So sit down and think with yourself, and then you can make a strong action plan. This, and this is affecting my life right now. What can I do to change that? Reflect on the negative things. Do some self-reflection. Look at the things around you. Look at the people around you. And then you can make an action plan to make yourself feel better. Another really key, simple thing that you can do is just taking a vitamin D supplement. We need vitamin D because we're not getting it without any sun or anything like that, right? So by taking a vitamin D supplement in the winter, it does help you. It does make a huge difference if you can consistently take that. It's a simple thing that we can do. We can go buy it from the store and just consistently take a vitamin D supplement. It does make a difference. Since it is, the winter months and the holidays are here, try to distract yourself with, making crafts or making gifts for people. Maybe, doing things for others can make us really happy. So maybe we want to make somebody a gift or, write them a nice card or a letter. Distract yourself by doing physical things, with your hands, making a craft, making Christmas decorations, making New Year's decorations, or whatever holiday that you celebrate or that you do over these months. Maybe you have some birthdays coming up, maybe this is the time of year where you don't go to the store and just buy another store-bought gift for your friends and family. Maybe try to make something because it's going to make you feel better, and of course your friends and family are going to appreciate it. So it's a very healthy distraction. Another thing that we should do during these months especially is just create social situations. Like I said before, it's a distraction. During the wintertime, the urge to hunker down and stay at home can simply result in just less social interaction. Less interaction with your family, your friends, people around you. You spend more time alone. So if you push yourself to regularly connect with others, once you make the effort and social it can actually really lift your moods. I know it's easier said than done to push yourself to do that, but it does help. It really does. Connecting with people and having communication with others, it just instantly makes our mood a little bit brighter. The key for this is just to get your attention and your thoughts away from yourself of how you're feeling, right? So that you can live a happy and healthy life and you can make positive connections and positive friendships and relationships with people. So yeah, create social situations as often as you can. Now, I know that staying in your bed in these winter months is comfy, cozy, it's cold outside, and sometimes you just cannot force yourself to interact with people, be social, or go outside for a walk. We all have those days, whether we're being affected by seasonal affective disorder or not. So I thought of some uplifting activities that can make you feel productive even when you want to sit around or lay in bed. Because we all have those, and that's okay to do that. It's okay to sit around and lay in bed, but there's things that we can do to feel productive, to feel good about ourselves still. So one thing that we can do is read a book. We're learning, can make an educational book or just a good story, but it's making our mind move. It's making our thought process go, right? So read a book, make a playlist. This is something I feel like I never have time for, but I would appreciate if I did have more time to make a solid playlist. So lay in bed and make a solid playlist. Maybe your workout playlist, or you're driving in your car playlist, or make a playlist for somebody else if you don't need anything for yourself. It's something, it feels productive, and you're going to appreciate it later on down the road, and it actually might be something that motivates you to get out. If you make a really great workout playlist, then maybe you're going to want to go for a run, or you're going to want to go to the gym and get out of the house. So I think it really helps. Another one is just to FaceTime someone you haven't talked to in a while, or like a close family or friend. Social interaction is huge, like I've mentioned. But sometimes we just don't want to leave our bed. We don't want to leave our home, and we need to accept that that's okay. We do need to find that fine line of forcing ourselves to get out and staying in bed and still being productive. But you can interact with people through the phone now, through Skype, through FaceTime, whatever it is. It is so easy to reach your family and friends just through our phones or through our computer. So FaceTime someone. That way you're talking, you're being distracted, but you're still all cozy in your bed. You can also write and journal. This helps get your thought process going. Maybe deal with some internal things that you need to deal with that you didn't know. Watch an educational documentary about something you're passionate about. Hey, you're laying in bed, you can be drinking your hot chocolate, but watching a documentary on, I don't know, penguins or something, whatever, I don't know, something that you're passionate about, something that you care about, something that interests you. So you're relaxing, you're laying down, but you're still learning and you're enjoying yourself. Or another one is listening to educational podcasts. There's so many podcasts out there that can help teach you things or help give you a clearer mind or different perspective on things or anything that you're interested in. There's so many podcasts. And so lay in bed and listen to an educational podcast. Make a goal list. If you listen to my last episode, I talk a lot about making your goal list and, what you want. And that can really excite you. Or make an inspirational board, motivation board. So it helps you get inspired. It helps you get excited for your future, excited for what's next in your life. It makes you look at the positive. It makes you look at the things that you want and need in your life. And so it's going to lift your spirits up. It's going to feel more uplifting. So those are all things that you can do while laying in bed and still feel productive, still make yourself feel better, put yourself in better spirits. And another thing with seasonal affective disorder is it's just really important to talk about it. It's important to hear things and to explain yourself and express your feelings and listen to others and let others listen to you. Let people help you. Try to get yourself into a festive mood if you can, if it's around Christmas time or New Year's, whatever it might be. There's lots of things around us in these winter months that are actually really fun and that we just pretend that we don't realize or don't look at because we're simply just not in the mood. And that's okay. And help others that are affected by seasonal affective disorder. Maybe you don't personally suffer with seasonal affective disorder, but people close to you do. And it's important just to know how to help others as well. It's always nice to have someone that supports you and is there for you when you're going through things. So, just being there for others and talking, communicating about your seasonal affective disorder or about their seasonal affective disorder, how they're feeling, what they're going through these winter months. It all comes full circle. It all helps each other. We can all come together to help deal with the winter blues, the things that we're feeling. Seasonal affective disorder, just to sum this all up, it can really affect anyone and everyone. We have no idea what the person next to us on the bus or the person who cut you off in traffic or budged in line at the grocery store or at the coffee shop, whatever. We don't know what they're going through. We can never know what's going on in some people's lives. So just remember to be kind to everyone all the time, but especially this time of year. A lot of people are dealing with extra sadness, frustration, stress, whatever it may be, a lot more than usual. So a smile from a stranger can absolutely change somebody's day. It really can. So remember to pay it forward when you can. And if you do have people in your life that are suffering from seasonal affective disorder, do what you can to be there for them and support them. Distract them, or be a shoulder to cry on, or just a happy ear to listen. You know, the small things go a very long way, and more than we realize. For people that are dealing with internal demons, a simple smile can absolutely change their day. And then, you know, for those of you that are dealing with seasonal affective disorder, stay strong through the winter months. Get as much sunlight as you can, or light therapy of some kind, even though you don't want to. But enjoy the holiday season. Get in the spirit by baking some cookies or decorating your house, or, you know, just really get outside and try to improve your mood and just get up and move. I promise once you do, you're going to feel a whole lot better and you're not going to regret it. Remember that it's also okay to stay in bed once in a while, to cuddle up and watch your favorite movie. Just really reflect on you. Take the time to think about what you need. Just be aware of your limit of staying in, and, you know, even doing things that are productive inside and going out and doing other things that make you feel good. You got to be able to find that fine line. So just think about it, because at the end of the day, you are the only person who really knows what you need. So think about yourself, do some self-reflection. What do you need right now? What's going to help you live a happier, healthier life? What's going to put you in a more positive, uplifting mindset? You're so strong, so just prove that to yourself, because you know you are. You know deep down you are, and just right now things are affecting you and making you feel different. But you can 100% create the life that you want to live, no matter what time of the year it is, no matter how much sunlight is outside, no matter what your internal body clock is telling you that you want to sleep. You can do it. So just set your mind to it and put yourself in a positive mindset. You got this. So thank you so much for listening to GSMC Life and Happiness podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. That is all I have for you today. I hope some of this information helps get you over some winter blues and push all the way through it. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like and follow us on social media, and leave a 5-star review. It's always greatly appreciated. Till next time, thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.